for today's cup of coffee with Scream.
A cup of coffee.
We're not ready. We're not ready.
I was.
It's just one of those days.
Get your shit together.
Oh, my God. It's like when this comes out, it will be on August the 19th of 2024. And this full moon, super moon, whatever it is. And I'll have to go back and listen to Robert Phoenix's Sunday night show here later in the morning because, yeah.
It makes you feel extra tired, especially when you're running on 3 hours of sleep.
Yeah. Kid went and stayed at the cabin last night and was cleaning on the cabin. You can't let structures sit unoccupied for very long. Mm-hmm. Especially not in a very mountainous area because some kind of something will get in, whether it's squirrels. Squirrels had done things. Mice had gotten in. Bats. There were bats.
Yeah. Bees.
Yeah. I mean,
it's
even
like there was
a
fresh one right under one of the rocking chairs, and it's like
lovely
shit. It's luckily nothing was on it.
Yeah. I mean, even when you are in a dwelling, and the stinging insects have been vast this year. I don't know what's going on, but it's
stinging insects. Mm-hmm. It's bees.
Bees, wasps.
The bees. Any flying, stinging. If it's got a stinger and it flies, insect. It's a bee.
Basically. And our tree stump is still smoking a week later. Not as much as it was, and we've had some rain, but every now and then there'll be a little wisp of smoke.
Yeah.
It has provided me with great joy. This story is incredible. And this is from Daily Mail and is by Tom Bedford and Lettice Bromovsky. Yeah, I did the best I could on it. And it was written on August the 17th, 2024. I will put a link in the description box. And the way that it's written is a little awkward in some ways, so just bear with me. I'm trying to read and trying to interpret and everything else. Mm-hmm. And it says, a silly prank by neighbors in the South Wales valleys led to one of the most bizarre murder investigations in criminal history.
Loves it.
Eccentric Lee Sabine told residents of the block of the flats where she lived that she had a plastic medical skeleton from her days as a nurse. Okay, I mean, we've got some that sit on our porch glider year round, so whatever. But before Lee died of cancer in 2015, the skeleton and other belongings were dumped at the rear of the flats. And neighbor Michelle James, 45, thought she would have some fun with the bones that were tightly wrapped in polythene sheeting. Why didn't you say plastic? And as she said at the time, me and another neighbor wanted to get the skeleton.
Flying insects. It's a bee. That's like that one that was like, did you just call that fuchsia? Girl, it's fucking pink.
Yeah. Anyhow, this lady had said at the time, quote, me and another neighbor wanted to get the skeleton and sit it on a friend's settee and give him a shock when he got home. That sounds feasible. We took 2 kitchen knives and headed out to the patio, but were surprised at how well wrapped up the thing was. The knife cut through the plastic, but then hit cardboard and finally tinfoil. Suddenly, a pool of black sludge poured out all over our hands and arms, and we were hit with the worst smell you can imagine. And I started screaming, "It's a body, a real body," end quote. That would be a hell of a thing.
Yeah, that's fucked up to deal with.
It says 2 policemen turned up and were physically sick as they examined the contents of the bag on the shared patio in the village of Bedford in something I can't even pronounce because I'm not going there. It says mother of 3 Michelle explained that she had planned to play a trick on the neighbor, but the police arrested her on suspicion of murder.
Her?
Mm-hmm. And she
Ain't that funny how that shit happens?
She kept telling them that whoever was in the bag was connected to Lee, but they couldn't check because she had just died. During her 3 days in custody, Michelle was shown gruesome images of the contents of the rolled up bag. There was a skull with a dent where the head had been caved in. Now, y'all could have done better on that wording, really. I understand word count, but anyhow, another picture showed a hand with a gold signet ring on one of the fingers. Incredibly, the body was still dressed in blue Marks and Spencer pajamas. Well, just because the flesh decayed didn't mean the fabric was going to.
Yeah, but usually doesn't fabric get ruined by...
Well, I mean,
just water. If it stays in the water, if it stays in water too much, it turns into sludge.
Yeah, but not in that amount of time. I mean, this was wrapped. It was wrapped. Air is what causes a lot of the decay and stuff. So it says 3 weeks later, DNA test showed that the body was that of Lee's husband, John, who was last seen alive in 1998. Now remember, this happened in 2015. South Wales police believe mother of 5 Lee smashed his head in with a blunt instrument thought to be an ornamental frog. Yeah.
Thought to be.
And then hid his body for years at her 2-bedroom council flat in the Scottage of Bedford. The frog. You got to watch out for those ornamental frogs, man. You know, it says when Lee...
Beware the frog, it leaps and creeps.
When Lee, 74, knew her days were numbered, she wanted rid of the evidence and hired 2 local men to get it downstairs and onto the patio. So this thing wasn't just there. It was there in the apartment.
Yeah.
And it says John Sabine, who had been registered to the property, had not been seen for 18 years before his body was discovered. It is still unknown exactly when he died. Medically trained Lee had embalmed his body, and it's believed she kept it in a divan bed. I don't know what that is. In the spare room of the home that they had once shared.
Loves it.
An inquest in 2016 heard it had been preserved by chemical mummification. So it wasn't in the plastic all that time. It was mummy in the spare room.
Loves it.
And it says that there was somebody recorded a verdict that Mr. Sabine was unlawfully killed. Unlawfully killed! The man was murdered. Can you not say that anymore? Has that term fell out of favor again? Unlawfully killed. Most likely by his late wife. The coroner added, quote, precisely what happened and the circumstances will sadly never totally be known, end quote. Well, no shit. And it says, but more, do I have any faith in these people figuring this shit out? No. They arrested the woman and held her for 3 days. That found it. That found the corpse.
Under suspicion that she was the one that committed the act.
So, yeah, that is never going to be solved. Now, how many other things is not going to be solved on that? It says that...
I know it will be.
But more details crept out about the mysterious ex-nurse who claimed to be a former cabaret singer
Loves it.
who modeled herself on the actress Greta Garbo.
Okay.
Yeah, well, there's a little bit of delusion going on there. And it says her real name was Anne, and Lee was her stage name. She used to boast about once having sung on stage with Sir Tom Jones. As in the Tom Jones.
Yeah.
Wonder if she threw her drawers at him.
I don't know.
She and John had lived in Australia, where they had been investigated by police for abandoning their 5 children. Yeah, this is a whole lot of these, the dramatic pauses. It's not just, I mean, they're needed. It's trying to process, let my brain wrap around this.
If you could see her face.
Oh,
My face.
According to reports in New Zealand, the pair went on the run after John Sabine was accused of fraud. By the time she died, Anne Sabine was estranged from her entire family, including her grown-up children now living in New Zealand. She abandoned them.
Yeah.
Why would they have any contact with her?
Exactly. There'd be no point.
And says she and John immigrated there in the 60s before abandoning their 2 boys and 3 girls in a state-run nursery in Auckland and eventually returned to the UK without them. The couple's second youngest daughter, Jane Sabine, has gone on record to say, quote, "I have no doubt my mother was capable of murder," end quote. Well, yeah. Says the child who was abandoned. Yeah. Coffee slurping coming.
God love them.
Hey, I'll tell you something. As horrible as it was, they actually did them a favor.
They did.
It says during a visit to a local hairdresser when her health was failing, this was Jane, had bragged, "People will be talking about me long after I'm gone." And when they asked her why, she had replied, "Because of the body in the bag." Be glad that you got out of cosmetology. 8 years have passed, and the story of the wife who kept her husband's body, Norman Bates style, mummified at her home has died down in the village of Bedford, which ironically means graves in Welsh. Like I said, I'm probably butchering that term. I'm sorry, somebody that's fluent in Gaelic is going, no. But a new 3-part Sky TV documentary, The Body Next Door, aired for the first time on Sunday with the name Lee Sabine being on everyone's lips again, just as she predicted. And mother of 2, Kelly Williams, 37, had said, it doesn't say, who the hell is Kelly Williams? Where did she come from?
I have no idea.
Had said, quote, "I moved here about the same time they found the body. It's very creepy to think what happened here. What gets me is that she embalmed him, so she must have intended to keep him at home all those years. It gives me the shivers," end quote. She did keep him.
Yeah. Wasn't there a story of a drag queen up in New York that had a mummy in the closet or something? It was a dead body in a bag, I know that, and it was mummified.
Believe it or not, it's not that uncommon. I mean,
but that's the one.
It is still pretty rare.
That's the one story that reminded me of this case. It does not. It's like this shit happens more often than you expect it. You know,
it does. It really does. It's just the fact that we have. This has been going on since humans have been. And to do the weird and stuff like that. And again, with the weird, that can be a cultural thing. Now, the murder is not usually a cultural thing.
No.
Especially not to be bludgeoned with a frog. An ornamental frog.
Of all the things to bludgeon someone with, why an ornamental frog?
At hand. You know, I don't know.
Okay.
It was just,
use what you got.
Yeah. It was a matter of just, necessity is the mother of invention. But it just is one of those very strange things. And they mentioned as far as Norman Bates and Psycho. Mm-hmm. And how interesting that movie, And part of it is Western culture and their weirdness with death and with mummification and with bodies and all that. And we still, whichever culture it is that does mummify the people, and then each year they will bring them back out and give them new clothes and different things like that, and they sit them around the table, or
Take them for walks.
I guess they just sort of prop them up.
Take them for walks, stuff like that.
Yeah. I think it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I mean, it's sort of like jerky. It's like walking jerky. I don't know what kind of embalming process they would have on that.
I don't know. I can't imagine how dealing with the smell.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Depending on what type of preservation is done, that doesn't mean that there is smell.
And even with some preservations, there is still the chemicals or whatever they use. It gives off its own smell, compounding with the flesh. You know, that is a smell that is going to be a very distinct smell. That's going to, you cannot mistake that for anything else, I'm sure.
Cue Leonard Skinner, that smell. And
the smelly smell.
The smelly smells like death.
Smelly.
It's interesting.
There's no other smell like decay.
Funerary customs have always fascinated me. I mean, they really have the concept of different people's concept of death and how they deal with it and different things. That's something I have studied for a very long time. Mm-hmm. I do have a different take on that. I've been rebuked over that too. It's like, it doesn't, you know.
Yeah.
Because it's not the person. It's a
shell.
Suit. It is. It's the suit that the person is driving. That was what we were talking about, the movie The Little Girl Who Lives Down the Lane from the 70s. Remember that was in the list?
Yeah.
Had Jodie Foster in it.
Uh-huh.
That was one of the interesting things. And she was brilliant. And it's like, spoiler, that her parents had died. She had not killed them. They had died. But they had made provisions for her to where she could function as an adult. And that if anybody came to the house and asked to see her father, she would say, and he had been a published author.
Yeah.
And that he was busy writing and he couldn't be disturbed and different things like that. And what had happened was that the body of the father, I can't remember if the mother had died previously, I think she may have. And so the body had been in the basement and she had covered it with lime to keep the odor down. She knew how to do all that.
Yeah.
And it was a matter of her being able to, like I said, function as an adult, which she was able to do quite well. Mm-hmm. But because that, you know, it's an interesting movie.
Yeah.
Highly disturbing, but interesting.
Damn.
So as far as...
Never seen it.
We don't know. This could be a thing and that people would never know.
Yeah.
I would have hated to have been on that call. I think the worst part was that the cops arrested the woman that had found it. Now, you know that's been traumatic for her in multiple ways.
Mm-hmm. And for her to be to have the blame put onto her.
Yeah.
It's like, what that seriously, that innocent until proven guilty, that is no longer
this was over in
thing.
Wales. This was over in Wales, so they do things differently over there. It's UK.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It's like this. If you want a Halloween skeleton, make sure it is a plastic skeleton.
Yeah. You don't want to end up with that carnival incident either, with the corpse hanging from the ceiling.
Yeah.
Spray painted.
Mm-hmm. It had been there for a long time, and everybody just thought it was one more prop.
Mm-hmm. That's freaky. Uh-huh. Because it was in a dark room, wasn't it? Or something like that.
Yeah. I mean, it was just one of those, I think it had like black lights and stuff, and nobody dreamed that it was real. Of course, in the movie Poltergeist, and they used actual corpses.
Yeah, that's fucked up.
Yeah, that they were cheaper than props.
That kind of seems absurd. That sentence, that statement.
Yeah, well,
Human bodies are cheaper than props.
That's why they said they used them.
Do you not find something twisted about that?
Oh, there's a lot of things twisted today. There's a whole hell of a lot. It truly,
Plastic is worth more than actual bones.
If it's done well for movie, whatever. I don't know. I'm just reporting. That was the rationale for doing it. And it's like, yes, let's do this to save a dime and curse the whole damn bunch.
Yeah, certainly did.
Because there was a lot of freaky stuff that happened to some of those people.
The second movie killed the girl, didn't it, for realsies?
Yeah, the little girl who had played Carol Ann ended up with some kind of, I can't remember if she had a type of flu or something. But, and it was interesting because in one of the movies there was a whole lot I remember that there was a Native American gentleman in that movie, and it had to do with water and ice or something. It's been years since I've seen that. But I wondered then if she had not contracted, gotten a cold or something during the filming process, that could have led to her getting sick and ultimately dying.
Yeah.
I'd have to go back and, make sure I got my facts straight, because they may not be.
Get your shit straight.
But that's the reason we always give the links on these articles. Instead of somebody going, Morland said, no, I read it. I just read it.
Yeah.
But anyhow, she did get away with murder. The lady got away with murder.
That's fucked up.
Why would she
Why would they allow
murder
her
him and then keep the corpse?
to try to hide it?
I don't think so. I mean, I don't know. I mean, for her to be smart enough
way I could think of
to mummify it, so it was intentional that she kept it.
Yes, but if she disposed of the bones,
you could have done that a piece at a time. Seriously.
No, you can't.
Yes, you could have. Yes, you could have. Over
trash
the years,
compactors do not do that good of a job.
Over the years and stuff, she could have gone places and just scattered finger here, a toe there, There's all kinds of ways that could have been done. No, she purposefully had him in the guest bedroom.
Out of sight, out of mind.
No, he was right there.
Did she stay in the guest bedroom?
I'd say, if it was a 2-bedroom flat apartment there. We call them apartments over here, guys.
Yeah.
But, sit there and peep in on him every now and then. It's odd. The whole thing is odd.
See, the other story that I'm thinking of, where they had the mummy in the closet, it's like they knew it was there. That's where they kept their clothes. It's just trying to ignore it, trying to
pretend that it wasn't there. Oh no, I'd say this woman had some spite about her. That's what I think it was. I really do think that it was a spite thing.
Yeah, I don't know. It could be. She could have
we'll
been like
never know.
that one woman from Addams Family Values, where she was trying to kill Fester like she did all the other husbands.
Well, she didn't, she never remarried or anything like that, so she did take it to the grave with her.
Yeah, she certainly did.
Final thoughts.
It's fucked.
It is.
Oh.
To go home to your mummy.
God. That was bad.
It's like have to buy some gardening lime every now and then. I had thought of that when we bought the gardening lime.
That's mama. Is that not? I love you. I love you.
I just thought about the movie, The Little Girl Who Lived Down the Lane.
Yeah.
Yeah, lime is a type of fertilizer, so
It'll burn your soil up real fast if you use too much of it.
It certainly can. So is that the final thought?
Yeah.
I think I've freaked him out with this one.
No, you haven't.
Experiences with the paranormal or supernatural, encounters with UFOs, aliens, cryptids, tinfoil hats, would very much like to see your comments about this, and watch out for ornamental frogs. You can send us an email also, cupofcoffeewithscream@gmail.com.
And if you like this video, comment, like, share, subscribe. Check her out on BitChute, Rumble, YouTube at Orlando's Cup of Coffee with Scream, and also check her out on X, previously known as Twitter, Orlando COCWS.
Know that you are loved. Treat other people the way that you would like to be treated.
Yeah.
You don't want to be hit in the head with a frog. Don't be hitting other people in the head with a frog.
No, don't do that. Don't be hitting each other with stuff. That's like that's like there's dolls on Walmart shelves right now with the really big heads. Like, I'm talking like bigger than Bratz.
Oh no.
And it's on Twitter. It's like, oh, we got another weapon, y'all.
It's a bludgeoning thing. Okay, good to know. At least I'm not the only one out there that thinks that way.
No.
I'm really not. Anyhow, Lord willing, we'll see you on the next cup. Bye.
Bye.